I'd like to speak with you today about something I see in my practice with increasing frequency, something that has become a quiet crisis in modern health. Every day, I consult with patients over 50 who are doing everything they've been told to do. They spend a significant amount of money on gym memberships, buy the latest supplements, and track their calories with sophisticated apps. Yet, despite these efforts, they come to me with a familiar litany of concerns. Persistent joint pain, a creeping sense of brain fog, and a fear of the chronic diseases that seem to be an inevitable part of aging in our society. There is a profound and troubling paradox at play. We are living in an age of unprecedented medical knowledge and technological advancement. Yet, our health span, the number of years we live with full function and vitality, is not keeping pace with our lifespan. We're living longer, but we are not necessarily living better. This decline is not a failure of effort, but perhaps a failure of focus. We have become obsessed with metrics like calories burned and miles run, while neglecting the very foundation of what keeps a body resilient and a mind sharp as we age. Now, let's contrast this with what we observe in other parts of the world, specifically Japan, a country with a statistically astonishing number of citizens living healthily and independently past the age of 100. For decades, researchers sought the answer in their diet or genetic predispositions. But deeper studies, including those from esteemed institutions like Harvard Medical School, uncovered a more fundamental truth. The secret to their remarkable longevity and vitality wasn't hidden in a complex formula, but in a series of simple, daily movements. These aren't grueling workouts. They are subtle, intentional habits woven into the fabric of daily life, so basic that they were once overlooked by Western medical science. The first of these is a concept that redefines what we consider walking for exercise. It's known as Sampo or slow walking. Forget the power walking, the heart rate monitoring, and the pounding of pavement. This is a meditative, deliberate practice. The pace is slow, perhaps half of your normal walking speed, and it's often paired with a specific, calming breathing pattern. A gentle inhale over 2 steps, a brief hold for 2 steps, and a slow, complete exhale over 4 steps. From a physiological standpoint, this is incredibly powerful. This type of slow diaphragmatic breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, our body's rest and digest system. It acts as a direct counterbalance to the chronic stress state, or sympathetic fight or flight response, that so many of us live in. This activation lowers cortisol levels, reduces blood pressure, and calms the entire cardiovascular system. But the magic goes deeper. By walking so slowly, you are forced to change your biomechanics. Instead of striking the ground hard, each step becomes a conscious rolling motion from the heel, through the arch, to the ball of the foot and toes. This action stimulates the thousands of mechanoreceptors on the soles of your feet. These nerve endings send a rich stream of data to your brain, specifically to the cerebellum and vestibular system, which are responsible for balance and spatial awareness. As we age, our reliance on vision for balance increases, while this proprioceptive feedback from our feet diminishes. Sampo directly retrains and strengthens this crucial mind-body connection. A long-term study from Kyoto University highlighted these benefits, finding that seniors who practiced this daily had significantly more elastic arteries and a gait that resembled individuals decades younger. The key is to start on natural, slightly uneven surfaces like grass when possible, as this further challenges and engages the stabilizing muscles in your ankles and feet. This isn't just a walk, it's a daily recalibration of both brain and body. Building on this principle of gentle daily maintenance is another Japanese institution known as Radio Taiso. Every morning at 6:30 a.m., a simple piano melody is broadcast across the nation, signaling the start of a 3-minute series of gentle flowing movements. This isn't a modern fitness trend. It was designed in 1928 and is still practiced today by millions, from school children to corporate executives to retirees. The routine consists of 13 rhythmic movements. Think gentle arm circles, side bends, and knee lifts, all performed in a continuous, graceful flow. There is no holding of strenuous poses and no goal of breaking a sweat. Its brilliance lies in its purpose, to lubricate the joints. Our joints are lined with cartilage that has no direct blood supply. It receives its nutrients and lubrication from synovial fluid. When we are still, especially after a night of sleep, this fluid is thick and viscous. Gentle, full-range movement, like that in radio taiso, warms up this fluid, decreasing its viscosity and allowing it to flow freely, nourishing the cartilage and reducing friction. This is why morning stiffness is such a common complaint. Without this daily lubrication, stiffness can become chronic, leading to pain and a reduced range of motion. Scientific studies of older adults who practice radio taiso daily have shown remarkable results. Dramatically fewer falls, a significant reduction in chronic back pain, and the preservation of shoulder and hip mobility well into their 80s and 90s. The routine itself is only 3 minutes and 15 seconds long. It can be done anywhere without any equipment. The most profound benefit comes from performing it shortly after waking, a time when growth hormone levels in the body are at their peak, making your muscles and tissues particularly receptive to this gentle form of renewal. It's a simple, daily investment in your long-term mobility. The problems I see in my patients related to stiffness and instability are often the direct result of an environment that has been engineered for convenience, but is detrimental to our physiology. The primary culprit is the chair. Chronic sitting shortens our hip flexors, tightens our hamstrings, and weakens our gluteal muscles, leading to a cascade of issues from back pain to poor posture. In Japan, a floor-based culture has preserved a fundamental human posture that most in the West have lost: the deep squat rest. You can see it in parks where elders in their 70s and 80s rest comfortably in a full squat, heels flat on the ground, back straight. For most Western adults over 50, this position is difficult, if not impossible, to hold for more than a few seconds. This isn't just a matter of flexibility. It's a key indicator of musculoskeletal health. Biomechanically, the deep squat is a restorative posture. It allows the hips to move through their complete range of flexion, which is crucial for preventing impingement and arthritis. It naturally decompresses the lumbar spine by gently stretching the vertebrae apart, relieving pressure on the discs. Furthermore, it strengthens the pelvic floor, a group of muscles essential for core stability and bladder control, an issue that becomes increasingly important with age. A comprehensive 12-year study of over 5,000 seniors found a powerful correlation. Those who could hold a deep squat for at least 2 minutes had a 70% lower likelihood of needing assisted living later in life. Their ability to maintain this posture was a direct reflection of their hip mobility, knee health, and overall functional strength. Reclaiming this ability is possible, but it requires patience. I advise my patients to start by holding onto a sturdy chair or countertop for support, allowing them to lower themselves as far as is comfortable. If your heels lift off the ground, which is very common due to tight calf muscles and Achilles tendons, you can place a small rolled-up towel under them for support. The goal is to hold the position for just 20 or 30 seconds at a time, several times a day, gradually building up your duration and reducing your reliance on support. This isn't an exercise in the traditional sense. It is your body remembering its natural design for rest and alignment. Once you regain this ability, you begin to undo decades of damage caused by chairs, restoring health to your joints from the ground up. From this foundation of a stable base, we move to a practice that directly targets the brain's ability to maintain balance. Doctors in Japan don't just prescribe medication for age-related concerns. They often prescribe this simple habit: stand on one leg for 1 minute, twice a day. To some, this may sound trivial, but the research behind it is incredibly robust. A 15-year study from Fukuoka University that followed over 12,000 older adults discovered that this single practice was associated with 68% fewer hip fractures and 75% fewer fall-related hospitalizations. A fall for an older adult is not a minor event. It can be a life-altering catastrophe, often marking the beginning of a rapid decline in independence. What's more, researchers at the Mayo Clinic have stated that a person's ability to balance on one leg is a more powerful predictor of longevity than their cholesterol or blood pressure readings. Why? Because it's a direct, real-time test of your entire neuromuscular system. When you stand on one leg, your brain receives a constant flood of information from your eyes, your inner ear's vestibular system, and the proprioceptors in your standing leg's ankle, knee, and hip. In response, it sends out hundreds of signals per second, commanding tiny subconscious microadjustments in your muscles to keep you upright. Your brain is lighting up, forging and reinforcing neural pathways. To begin safely, stand next to a wall or countertop for support. Lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground and fix your gaze on a point in front of you. Start with 20 or 30 seconds on each leg and gradually increase the time. As you improve, you can introduce challenges like closing your eyes for a few seconds or standing on a slightly unstable surface like a folded towel. This simple, 1-minute habit is one of the most effective ways to age-proof your brain and body, dramatically reducing your risk of a debilitating fall. We have discussed preparing the body with morning movement and restoring its foundational postures. The next two principles integrate these elements, serving as both a test of our functional health and a way to actively improve it. In a culture where sitting on the floor is common for meals, tea, or watching television, the act of getting up and down from the ground is practiced dozens of times a day. For most Westerners, this is a movement we actively avoid. Yet, the ability to go from a standing position to sitting on the floor and then rising back up without using your hands for support may be the single most important indicator of how well you are aging. A landmark study from the University of Tsukuba followed thousands of older adults and developed what is known as the sitting-rising test. Their findings were astonishing. Individuals who could perform this movement without using their hands or using only one hand for support had a significantly lower mortality rate over the following 6 years compared to those who needed extensive use of their hands, knees, or other forms of support. The reason for this strong correlation is that this transition is not just a physical act. It is profoundly neurological. It requires a complex interplay of lower body strength, core stability, joint flexibility in the hips and knees, and motor planning from the brain. It is a comprehensive test of your body's integrated function. If you lose this ability, you begin to lose your independence. The day a person can no longer get up off the floor on their own is a critical turning point. But this decline is not inevitable. It can be reversed with practice. I encourage my patients to start in a controlled way. Place a cushion on the floor and practice lowering yourself into a kneeling position, using a sturdy chair for support. Then practice rising back up. The goal is to gradually reduce your reliance on that support over weeks and months. Even performing just 2 or 3 of these transitions a day can build remarkable strength and confidence. This isn't about becoming a gymnast. It's about ensuring you have the fundamental strength and coordination to live safely and independently in your own home for as long as possible. The final habit is perhaps the most deceptive in its simplicity. It requires only a common household item, a towel. This movement, known as tenugui hibiki, is credited by many Japanese centenarians as their secret to staying strong and focused. Here is how it works. Hold a towel at shoulder height with your arms extended, hands slightly wider than your shoulders. Gently pull your hands outward as if you are trying to rip the towel in half. This creates an isometric tension that immediately engages the deep stabilizer muscles in your shoulders, back, and core. While maintaining this outward tension, you slowly twist your torso to one side, keeping your hips facing forward. Hold for 3 seconds, return to the center, and then twist to the other side. You repeat this for about 2 minutes. The genius of this movement lies in the combination of isometric tension and rotational movement. This unique stress activates deep muscles, like the transverse abdominis and the multifidus muscles along the spine, which are often dormant in conventional workouts, but are critical for spinal stability. Brain scans have shown that movements that cross the body's midline while under tension, like this one, activate both hemispheres of the brain simultaneously, which can enhance coordination, memory, and reaction time. A 20-year study of 15,000 Japanese elders found that those who practiced this 2-minute towel twist daily lived, on average, 7 years longer. Their grip strength, a key marker of overall health in seniors, remained strong, and their bone density was comparable to individuals 20 years younger. Before you begin any of these movements, it is essential to start from where you are today. If you have a history of joint pain, past injuries, or have been sedentary for a long time, please be gentle with yourself. These practices are about consistency, not intensity. Always work near a wall or a sturdy piece of furniture for support. And most importantly, listen to your body. Pain is a signal to stop and reassess, not to push through. The goal here is not to fight the aging process. That is a battle we will not win. The goal is to move intelligently, to partner with your body to preserve its function, its strength, and its independence. You don't need a gym or expensive equipment. You need only a few minutes a day and a shift in perspective, from chasing an elusive anti-aging ideal to embracing a practical, dignified, and sustainable path to living well for all the years you have.